This video is going to be about phylogenetic trees using the example of Hammond use in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. Now, it's first important to start out with the basic family tree of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, and today we're going to start out with George Joestar I and Mary Joestar. These are both non-Hammond users who had a son, Jonathan Joestar, who is a Hammond user. Jonathan married Arina Joestar and had one son, George Joestar II. Neither of those two are Hammond users. Now, jumping over to our second little offshoot of the tree, we have Strazo, who does not have a last name. He married an unknown female and had a daughter who can use Hammond. Now, we do know that the unknown is not a Hammond user. Elizabeth and George Joestar married and had one son, Joseph Joestar, who is a Hammond user. Joseph married Susie Q, a non-Hammond user, and had Holly Joestar, another non-Hammond user. The first potential mode of inheritance I want to look at today is going to be Y-linked. From this diagram, it can't possibly be Y-linked, especially if you look at individual 2-4, Jonathan Joestar, and his son, 3-2, George Joestar II. Now, if this was a Y-linked trait, Jonathan Joestar's Y chromosome, which would have held the Hammond use gene being passed down to George Joestar II, would mean that George Joestar would be a Hammond user, but we can easily see from this chart that he is not. The second mode of inheritance I want to look at is going to be X-linked recessive, and as you can see here, it can work. We just need a few specific genotypes, including Strazo's wife being heterozygous and Mary Joestar also being heterozygous in order to produce the offspring that use Hammond. The second mode of inheritance I want to look at today is going to be autosomal recessive. And this is possible as shown with these genotypes here. Once again, individuals 2, 3, and 4, 1 are homozygous dominant because they're entering the tree. The next mode of inheritance I want to look at is autosomal dominant. So if it was autosomal dominant, that means these two, George Joestar I and Mary Joestar, individuals 1, 1 and 1, 2, would have to be recessive alleled, homozygous recessive, which means Jonathan Joestar would also have to be homozygous recessive, which couldn't make any sense. So this is not an option. The second one would be to look at X-linked dominant, which means Mary Joestar would have both recessive and George Joestar would have the recessive allele, but Jonathan Joestar could not be dominant, so he can't either. And these are my works cited. Thank you.